For a long time in my life, I was always running. I was always running from one place to the next. I was always rushing around. I was always feeling crazy inside. I was always feeling anxiety. It took me a long time to realize that it was okay to sit down and just relax. Because in my childhood, there was no time for me to take breaks because there was too much for me to accomplish. I was taught to stop and sit, to stop and relax, to stop and take breaks. I grew up with the mentality that you never miss school. You never miss school. You never take breaks. If you're sick, you still go to school, take some medicine, you'll be okay. If you hurt yourself, just put a Band-Aid on, you'll be okay. Keep moving, keep going, keep going, keep going. And that was the foundation of how I learned to operate throughout life. I never learned that it was okay to just sit down until now. I realized recently that a lot of the work that I was doing, a lot of things I was doing to keep busy was a form of procrastination. And it was something that I was doing in order to avoid facing things that I was scared of, which was taking action and being responsible for the things I knew I was able to do. I knew I had the power to do, but I was too scared to do. So what did I do? I took classes, I went to workshops. I mean, those things are fabulous. But if you're not taking action, if you're reading lots of books and you're not taking action, if you're going to lots of classes, if you're paying a lot of money to go to conferences and you're not taking action, you're just procrastinating. I never learned to just sit and think about what I was really doing and why I was really doing it. When I was a teacher, and I was a teacher for 4 years, I actually had so much anxiety that I would sweat on cold days because I was so nervous and anxious, anticipating all the things that were going to happen, that I never took time to just be in the present moment, to just sit with how I was feeling and to just appreciate the time that was right now. I learned that when you feel anxiety in your heart, it's actually your inner child speaking to you. And your inner child acting out because it doesn't understand or doesn't see how things are going to work out. It feels anxious about what's going on and doesn't see you as the responsible person for being able to alleviate that anxiety. When we feel anxious, a lot of times it's because we are not allowing ourselves to step into our power. When I started to realize that I was the cause of my own anxiety because I wasn't able to sit down long enough to relax, I knew I had to make a change. I had to figure out, and I encourage you to do the same, what was making me feel anxious inside. I had to sit down, and I'm not a doctor, okay? Like I didn't study medicine, but I'm giving you my personal experience, my personal advice. There came a time through the relationship that I've been in with my partner where I realized I had serious anxiety, and I had had anxiety my entire life up until about 2 years ago when I started to deal with it. And the way I started to deal with it was I had to face it. I had to sit down and I had to figure out what was giving me anxiety. I had to take a break. Something that I was never encouraged to do as a child. I had to take a break and I had to sit with it. And I had to realize there was something going on internally And at the same token, I had to realize that I was the only one in control of working through what I was dealing with internally. And like anything else in your life, the key thing to do when you feel anxiety or when you feel certain feelings is identify what those feelings are first. Because when you identify what those feelings are, you can face them, you can give a name and a face to them, and you can start to identify and talk to them, communicate with them. You can say, oh, that's anxiety I'm feeling. I understand now. I can deal with that. I know how to deal with that. I know the tools to use to deal with that. And that's what I had to do. Or I had to say, oh, that's my inner child feeling a lot of nervous energy because we don't know what's going to happen next. Why are we focusing on what's going to happen next when we need to focus on what's going on right now? That's the key that I forgot to realize. When you focus on what's going to happen next, you can't really live because you're not living in the right now. And if you don't live in the right now, you will constantly feel like you have to run and rush and hustle to keep up. And that is a terrible feeling. When I put a name to it, when I realized it was anxiety, and when I realized what the cause of it was my inner child feeling uncomfortable, feeling like acting up because I wasn't owning my power, I realized that all the things that I was doing to try to cope with it, like thinking any way I could deal with my anxiety was to look outside of myself, like go drink lots of alcohol because that was the only way I could chill out. That was the only way I could feel calm. When I realized that all the power to deal with how I was feeling, all of my anxiety was actually inside of myself, things changed for me. A lot of times I think we're just honestly scared of our own power. I really do. I think that we are afraid to face the power that we possess because even though we all talk about how we want to be powerful, we want to make a lot of money, you know, you may talk about how you want to move up and be a CEO. Imposter syndrome, which I talked about in one of my previous speeches, the idea that you are very powerful, but you talk yourself down because you don't believe, you know, in your own power and you self-sabotage and you do things to go against that power. That's when imposter syndrome sets in and we start to just feel a lot of doubt and we start to beat up on ourselves and we start to get negative. So when you start to feel that way, inside, I really encourage you to sit with it and breathe through it. One of the most amazing things that I have started to incorporate into my life is just sitting with how I'm feeling first and breathing through it. Through guided meditation, I started finding guided meditations on YouTube, which are free. And guided meditation is where somebody walks you through a meditation as opposed to you just doing it by yourself. So I started doing guided meditations. I started doing yoga. And at first I did donation yoga where you can pay what you can. There's no excuse to helping yourself to feel better. The power to feel better, to stop your anxiety is all right here. It's about owning up to it and realizing that everything that you need is already right here inside of you. So I want to challenge you to something today. I want you to set your timer for 2 minutes, just 2 minutes. If you can do more than 2 minutes, amazing. I want you to find a quiet space in your home, and I want you to set that timer for 2 minutes and just sit and breathe. Breathe in and out for those 2 minutes, breathing deeper in and deeper out each time. And when the alarm goes off, okay, get up and start your day. And the more you practice that, the more you will learn to identify how you feel and get control over that. You can change your life because you can start to channel, identify, and understand your emotions like anxiety, like frustration, like anger. It all starts with you changing your life for the better. I hope you have an amazing Saturday. I hope you really enjoy this day and take some time for you. Have a beautiful day.